Bring me the next shiny new thing. Bring me the next.
The Pickleball chicks are obsessed with America's fastest growing sport, pickleball. Get ready for on and off the court hot topics. Lots of laughs, cocktails and champagne with your hosts, Annie and Rebecca.
Hey, I'm Rebecca.
And I'm Annie.
And we're the Pickleball Chicks. So today we have, oh my God, a fabulous guest.
Oh,
Fabulous. She's an awesome pickleball player. She's a trainer. She's been training since 2001. Her name is Leslie Roberts. And she trains some of the pickleball pros. And we are so excited to get into all the information. She's really mind, body, and soul, the whole package when it comes to training and healing. Leslie, welcome to our show.
Hi, ladies. Thank you so much for having me on. It's so fun to be here with the Pickleball Chicks. I love it.
Thank you. And were you just in Minnesota?
I was, yes, last month. So my minor league pickleball team was based out of Minnesota. So I came up to practice. And it was my first taste of 20-something degree weather in quite some time.
So how did that feel for you?
Yeah, luckily I spent about 4 minutes of my entire trip outside. And I stayed with Logan Peterson, who lives there, and he was so sweet. He actually warmed up the car in the garage before we got in it. So he's like, I turned your seat heater on, put the heater on, it's been running for about 10 minutes.
Oh,
he was pretty good to this Texas girl.
Oh, that was really nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I love it.
Well, so we want to get into first, we always have a drink in the kitchen cocktail. And today it is the Pickleball Popper. So what's in it is a rim of Pop Rocks, blue raspberry vodka, elderflower tonic, which I thought you would like, and a splash of grenadine just for fun. So, word of the day, Annie.
Stretch.
So every time you hear the word stretch, you will want to take a sip of your favorite drink, or if you've made one of ours, have a sip of one of ours.
Absolutely. And let's have some fun.
Yeah, so Leslie, what will you be drinking over on that end? Pickleball popper or something else? Looks like she is frozen in time. But she looks pretty, so that's good.
That's good.
Let's see. What do you think's going on? Hello!
So sorry. I don't know what happened.
Don't be at all.
Well, the cool thing is you froze, but you looked pretty in the picture, so we just went with it.
It's there. It's never good when you freeze. It's never on a good face when you freeze. Let's be real.
So Annie was just saying the word of the day, and all we have to do is if you hear the word of the day, which is stretch, which I'm sure we'll hear a ton from Leslie today, take a sip of your favorite drink or ours.
Or ours. Absolutely.
I feel like I've just been given loads of power.
So let's start out our hour with the in the kitchen cocktail.
Okay.
Okay, so Annie, Leslie, grab your drink. And here we go. Cheers to a fabulous, wonderful day. Who wants to say a little toast?
I would love to.
Okay.
We thank you, Leslie, for joining us. We thank the universe for all of the abundance coming our way. And
cheers, Leslie.
Yes.
Oh,
cheers.
Salut, ladies.
All right, here we go.
My goodness. Those pop
That
rocks. The pickleball all over.
That is a good way to get a day started. Pop rocks.
That's right. Ooh, they're still going.
They are still going. They are still going.
Oh my gosh.
The elderflower tonic is really delicious. I've never tried it in drinks. That is really good.
It's lovely.
Nice.
It
was
is
great.
lovely.
Okay, so let's start out, Leslie. We'd love to hear just a little bit of your background and how your journey brought you to pickleball.
Okay, sure. So you mentioned I have been training since 2001, and I have quite a sports background. I've been competing in sports for about 40 years at this point. And so through different certifications, through different types of work, I really started to hone in on the chronic pain side. Being an athlete my whole life, I've had my more than fair share of injuries. So what I would find is that was really where I could help people the most, is if I knew a bit more on that type of genre, right? So I started to specialize in chronic pain, injury, and illness fairly early in my career. And 2012, I ended up going to massage school here in Texas. It's a 500-hour program. So I did that so that I could be better educated and actually touch dogs so I could actually touch clients and really get into what they have going on a little bit better.
Yeah.
And then pickleball was, so sorry. I think we must have a dog walking by.
Something exciting is happening.
Yeah, something good happening. Oh yeah, we've got a dog out for a walk. Yeah, that's big news on our street here.
Well, and I couldn't believe that you had been a pro football player.
Yeah, in my mid-20s, I did a short stint in football. I grew up playing, and then I got recruited to play full contact pro, so I traveled around playing. But that
That's
feels
amazing.
like so long ago at this point. But yes, that did. I also played competitive volleyball, doubles beach for many, many years. But
I love it.
my height, my height is a bit of an obstacle to true play. So there was no pro. There was no going pro on that one.
Well, so how did you actually start playing pickleball and getting into the training of pickleball players? It's such a crazy fun story.
Yeah, well, I saw it in a park, right? Actually, I was with my dogs at a park that has great courts, and I asked these people what it was. It's like, what are you guys playing? And they tell me, and I was just so curious about it, and so I thought, they told me. I said, where can I try this? And they said, there's stuff going on in the rec center indoors, and so I went into this rec center that's at this park, and they're like, oh, we're on a break right now. So then it was 2 years later when COVID hit that I saw a league was happening, and that's when I decided to join and try it.
Hey, we'll be right back to hear more from Leslie, but when was the first time you started playing pickleball? And now we're coming back to Leslie after a little tech difficulty.
Always hiccups when do anything like this. It's always So
well, I think that we've just become so trained by COVID, right? Like virtual is just so normal now.
I know.
There's going to be good sessions and bad sessions.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
And that brings up a question I have for you, even though we'd like to hear more about your other stories. I really want to make sure we highlight your virtual training services.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Always hiccups.
Yeah, thank you for asking about that. So that was born during COVID. I had never trained online before ever, but when the gym was shutting down, I essentially had tried one session with a client who has type 1 diabetes, and so she was isolating early because of the risk. And we tried one session. I thought, wow, I can see everything. I really think this would work. And so, this is really crazy to say, but this past Monday, so 4 days ago, was the first time I saw one of my clients in person since March 12th of 2020. We have been virtual.
Wow. Really?
And most of our sessions have been in his pool. He sets me up on the edge of the pool, and because he's got a knee replacement and some previous injury issues, the pool has been fantastic. In fact, he said our stint of the virtual training is the longest he's ever gone without an injury. So this is an interesting thing. This guy's had a lot of trainers over the years, and he had a trainer for 10 years before me, but I was new to him when COVID hit. So we had only been training together a few months, and then, you know, it was like isolation, and I didn't know if he was going to continue with me, and now our relationship is super strong these days. So we did know each other in person. Yeah, just this week.
That sure says a lot about your skills, Leslie.
Sure does.
Thanks. Yeah.
And
Well, I have a new set of skills now.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, like with the virtual, right? Like it's a new set of skills that I didn't have 2.5 years ago.
Yes. So how did you get into training some of the pros in pickleball?
So I was growing my game, and Jared Paul, who runs the Kitchen Pickleball community on Facebook, he had Zane come to Austin for a clinic, and I thought, you know, I want to try that. And so in the clinic, when we got to play with Zane for a little bit, and I saw something going on in when we were playing together. And so after the clinic was over, I was like, hey, I saw that, like a little something there. And he's like, yeah, I have something going on. I'm seeing a PT for it. And I said, well, I can help you with that. And so he was very interested. And so after that clinic, we jumped on a call, and that was May of 21. So we've been working together ever since that.
Wow. Now that's really cool.
Yeah.
Really
So I helped him with some of the hip stuff. Yeah, I helped him with some of the hip stuff. And my primary goal when I work with these pros is to help them enhance their game for sure, but and my amateurs too. I mean, I train amateurs as well, but is to really help them stay out of trouble, to help people learn more about their body, proper mechanics, good movement patterns, and then that way, hopefully we stay out of injury. You know?
Oh, yes.
Because you see a lot of pros and amateurs,
yes.
with a little knee brace.
Yes, and you know, I think that's one of the things we're so excited about is to benefit from all of this insight you have. So many people jump right into the game, and they do not stretch. Hey, word of the day.
Ooh, there it was. Got it.
So
it wasn't even me that said it.
So talking a little bit about stretching. So we want to hear from you about stretching, and what do you think about dynamic or static stretching? What do you like to do before and after, more than less? I mean, I think there's always, whenever we're at the pickleball court, there's girls doing different things. Nobody does the same thing. And everybody's
go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
No. Everybody does different things, and then everybody's like, well, I should do this because of this, and I should do that. And I'm like, I wish we knew really what we should do. So take it from here.
Please
okay.
do.
I am just so happy to hear that people are doing something, because the reality is it's not very many people are even warming up. So to the average pickleball player and a pro pickleball player in some instances, warming up means we're, thank you for asking about that. So that was born during COVID. I had never trained online before ever, but when, you know, the gym was shutting down, I essentially had tried one session with a client who has type 1 diabetes, and so she was isolating early because of the risk. And we tried one session. I thought, wow, I can see everything. I really think this would work. And so, yeah, I mean, this is really crazy to say, but this past Monday, so 4 days ago, was the first time I saw one of my clients in person since March 12th of 2020. We have been virtual.
Wow. Really?
And most of our sessions have been in his pool. He sets me up on the edge of the pool, and because he's got a knee replacement and some previous injury issues, the pool has been fantastic. In fact, he said our stint of the virtual training is the longest he's ever gone without an injury. So this is an interesting thing. This guy's had a lot of trainers over the years, and he had a trainer for 10 years before me, but I was new to him when COVID hit. So we had only been training together a few months, and then, you know, it was like isolation, and I didn't know if he was going to continue with me, and now our relationship is super strong these days. So we just saw each other in person. Yeah, just this week.
That sure says a lot about your skills, Leslie.
Sure does.
Thanks. Yeah.
And
well, I have a new set of skills now.
Oh, okay.
I mean, like with the virtual, right? Like it's a new set of skills that I didn't have 2.5 years ago.
Yes.
So how did you get into training some of the pros in pickleball?
So I was growing my game, and Jared Paul, who runs the Kitchen Pickleball community on Facebook, he had Zane come to Austin for a clinic, and I thought, I want to try that. And so in the clinic, when we got to play with Zane for a little bit, and I saw something going on in when we were playing together. And so after the clinic was over, I was like, hey, I saw that, like a little something there. And he's like, yeah, I have something going on. I'm seeing a PT for it. And I said, well, I can help you with that. And so he was very interested. And so after that clinic, we jumped on a call, and that was May of 21. So we've been working together ever since that.
Wow. Now that's really cool.
Yeah.
It's really
So I helped him with some of the hip stuff. Yeah, I helped him with some of the hip stuff. And my primary goal when I work with these pros is to help them enhance their game for sure, but and my amateurs too. I mean, I train amateurs as well, but is to really help them stay out of trouble, to help people learn more about their body, proper mechanics, good movement patterns, and then that way, hopefully we stay out of injury.
Oh, yeah.
Because you see a lot of pros and amateurs,
yes.
Yep, with a little knee brace.
Yes, and I think that's one of the things we're so excited about is to benefit from all of this insight you have. So many people jump right into the game, and they do not stretch. Hey, word of the day.
Ooh, there it was. Got it.
So
it
talking
wasn't even me that said it.
So talking a little bit about stretching. So we want to hear from you about stretching, and what do you think about dynamic or static stretching? What do you like to do before and after, more than less? I mean, I think there's always, whenever we're at the pickleball court, there's girls doing different things. Nobody does the same thing. And everybody's
Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
No. Everybody does different things, and then everybody's like, well, I should do this because of this, and I should do that. And I'm like, I wish we knew really what we should do. So take it from here.
Please
okay.
do.
I am just so happy to hear that people are doing something, because the reality is it's not very many people are even warming up. So to the average pickleball player and a pro pickleball player in some instances, warming up means we're hitting some dinks, right? We're at the NVL just hitting some soft shots, and that's really not a proper warm-up. So
right.
I've coached this certain system for a very long time, and I still hold it that it's very true, that there are 4 parts to a good warm-up. And not all of these parts need to happen right before you play, but they do need to be part of a system that you have that is regimented, right? So meaning it is part of your, how do I want to say this? It's part of your regular process, okay? So palpation is really important, and it just it helps you better connect to your body. It's going to help set you up for a lot less injuries down the road. And people are already like, what the hell is palpation? Yeah. Well, I happen to be sitting on a very important thing. I actually don't really use these for for therapy anymore. Now we have so many different tools that we can use, but this is a foam roller, right?
Yep.
So we call it self-myofascial release, SMR, and essentially you're giving yourself a massage, and you can use a wide host variety of tools in which to do that. And I think that comes first. And so if I'm at a tournament and I have, a 7 a.m. court time, it's obviously not feasible to always do something like this right before you get on a court, but the night before absolutely will carry over and help.
Oh, now
then,
that I didn't know.
Yeah, it's doable, right? So because as it becomes more of a regular part of your process, it's not as necessary to do it right before you play. So as, these tissues start to respond to all of the treatment you give them, they just won't be so pent up and needing constant care. But when you first start, or if you're experiencing some little aches and pains, it's definitely a sign from your body that something's not right. And so as you get into, say, more and more of this type of therapy, then you don't have to do it as often. But so palpation comes first, and then for, let's say your knee is an issue, you would want to do some static stretching that would be centered around this area, okay? Whatever that might be. A lot of times, things that are happening with your knee are maybe starting at your hip, or it could even
It's my hip. It's my hip. I keep telling everyone it's my hip. Yes.
Yeah. So that's okay. I mean, this is good, right? It's good to talk about this stuff. And so every person is different, hence why you have a personal trainer, because it's a customized program, right?
Yes.
But so the static stretching could also be done the night before for sure.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
This is enlightening.
Yeah.
This is enlightening.
This is great. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Yeah. So then now we're talking about the third piece of the puzzle would be more of that dynamic stretching. So what is dynamic stretching? And actually, let me back up a second. What's a static stretch, right? So a static stretch is more where we go into a position and we hold that for whatever length of time. And there's really no set length of time that's perfect. Some areas I like to do differently than others, and that is a big ball of wax, I realize, but
because people do say like, oh, you're supposed to do that for 20 seconds. You're not doing it long enough or whatever.
Right.
I've always wondered what the length of
yeah. There is some scientific value to some hold times, and I can get into that a little bit, but there's really no magic button, so I would say intuition, but the reality is most people hold something for no more than 10 seconds. So I often tell people, my quick in and outers, I'm like, I've got a timer on you. I've got a timer on you. You're not going anywhere for 60 seconds, And then dynamic stretching is really, it's a very broad term. It's just stretching with movement. That's all that means. It sounds so fancy. So, maybe instead of just like holding a quad stretch, maybe then I swing my leg, it's that kind of thing. And I mean, obviously doing it from here is pretty lame, but I think we get the point. And then the fourth part to that warm up would be raising your core temperature. So in the dynamic portion of your warm up, you're preparing your body neuromuscularly for exercise. There's a lot that happens throughout the whole chain of events. Our central nervous system starts to get stimulated. So, we're going to start getting ready to fire up some of these muscles. And then raising our core temperature is another piece to that neuromuscular puzzle. So when you go into, I just use tournaments as an example, even though not everybody does this, but it's nice to be tournament ready, even if it's not a tournament, is that by the time you are playing your first points, you should have a little sweat going.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
Boy, these 4 tips are
These are good. You
sensational.
are excellent.
Yes. And,
we will have everybody at the pickleball court listening to this podcast so we can
Yes.
solve all our problems.
Yes, we will. And to your point, most people do not do anything.
Right.
The few
right.
that do are the few. We've been trying to do that,
Yes.
but we didn't have this guidance. And wow,
I know.
Yeah.
I just feel so
So, oh yeah, and so to add to that just a little bit, the thing about it is that everybody's court setup is different, right? So we're headed to go play here in Texas. A lot of the year, that court, it's 100 degrees out, so not a lot of people are going to sit or lie on a court to really fully stretch. So I think that's why giving people the idea that it is beneficial, even if you do some of these things the night before or at home before you get in the car to go. Because if you're playing later in the day, I would recommend doing it right before you play. But I mean, it is still, like I said, as it becomes more of a part of your process, your body feels so much lighter. I love my first session with my clients is all about self-myofascial release and rolling and all the different tools you can use. And I love the immediate benefit that everyone feels from it. They're like, I feel so light. And so think about when you show up to the court and you feel that way, right? What do you think is going to happen? You're probably going to get to a few more balls, right? You're going to be able to get just a little bit lower.
Right.
So, yeah.
So
It's got huge payoff.
When you say to do it the night before, I have the big roller that has the really deep indentations. I go and roll around a little bit, but I don't know that I'm doing it really right. Well, how long would you say to use that the night before we were in a tournament?
The best way to sum this up is what you're doing for yourself is very typical to someone giving you a massage. And so the typical frame for a massage, let's say you're getting a full body for an hour, right? But if anybody out there has had a massage before, we know what a full body in an hour feels like. It feels like a blip. So I'd say if you have some issues going on, 15 minutes on those spots is not unheard of. I do give some prescription as to how much time to spend. Once I know my client and their body, it's easy for me to tell them, like, hey, and again, listen to a podcast, watch TV, set a timer, really spend some time and get in there. It's almost like so ridiculous, but when we go through the car wash at the gas station, and and we're just kind of like, and it's like pull forward, but you're like creeping along. It's like that on a roller. It's not spastic. Right? I mean, it's really the idea of like, if I'm gonna get into my quad, I'm gonna hang out here and I'm gonna chat with you, and I might move around a little bit, but I also might park on something that really feels like it needs some attention.
I love that.
So,
I am not using mine properly. I am going fast, and I need to slow it down. So thank you, Leslie.
Yeah, absolutely. Slow it down and see how that feels for you. Because that's the thing, I think that your body is going to guide you pretty quickly, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That is so great. And again, we think that your advice is so important, and so many people truly are looking for someone to connect with, like yourself, to help them. So how could our listeners connect with you? Because we know you offer virtual services.
So
when Annie says that, she means her and I.
Yeah, right? Exactly.
We'll be signing up immediately.
We'll get our calendar out for sure before we sign off. So I'm on Instagram as Bulletproof Your Body. It's bulletproof_your_body. I have that. My email is trainer Leslie, LESLIE @gmail.com. I have a website in motion. I've made it a long time without a website, and it's pretty obvious that time has passed. So, so that's in motion, and that will be bulletproofyourbody.com.
Oh, I love that name.
So that is a good name. That's a good one. Hard to get, I bet. Okay.
Absolutely.
So we had a couple of questions. We always love asking some different pickleball questions. So we want to know, Leslie, If you could play doubles with anyone, who would it be and why?
Okay, so I'm pretty spoiled. Okay, I'm friends with a lot of pro players.
Yep.
I get to hang out with amazing players all of the time. Stefan O'Verne is very generous with his time. Lena Padagamaite, Zane, DJ. I mean, a lot of these really good players. We live close to each other. I see them a lot. It's really great. But
Fun.
the probably the best answer I could give here is I think it'd be really cool to play doubles with a significant other.
Oh,
I'm single. Yeah, I'm single, and I think it'd be pretty cool if I had a partner who was a partner. And I know that everyone's like, don't do it. But I'm the type of person that, I think, good vibes for a relationship, right? And I think sometimes people who have partners as partners, they take for granted how much I hate to say this, like I don't want to speak for someone in this tune, but it's like they take for granted how much love they have for each other. But I would like to, have that kind of connection on the court.
I love that answer.
Yeah. One of the things I think we really have learned about you is your beautiful soul. You have such a beautiful soul.
And so I wonder who that person's going to be. I wonder who that partner is going to be.
I know. We are going to be watching.
Right.
Who's the universe going to bring?
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Okay. I love it.
So what is your favorite moment in your personal pickleball experiences? What's your favorite highlight, that moment you're like, oh my God?
Man, there's so many. It's so tough. So ladies, I started as a 3.2 player, and I, at this point, one day I said to myself, let's see how far we can take this. And so, I've played in a lot of really good tournaments. At this point, I have medaled in a 5-0. That was definitely a highlight.
Wow.
This minor league experience I just had, it just happened, right? It was a Halloween weekend where the Minnesota boys came down. Unfortunately, Amrik was supposed to be on my team, and he flew down to Texas, and then he got the call while he was in the airport. They just get off the plane, and his wife was very, very pregnant, having some issues. He never left the airport. He went right back to ticketing. So we didn't even know if we were going to have a team. This is Friday at 1 p.m. We're on a court 7 a.m. on a Saturday. We call this guy. I was calling, luckily I have all these connections. Thank you to everyone who helped. We call a guy who was in Joplin, Missouri. He drove 9 hours, got here at midnight, played amazing.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I ended up being the only woman to make it to the semifinals in that 22 division, which was really cool.
Oh.
Those
Yes,
nice. Excellent.
Thank you. Thanks.
Wow.
Because they didn't gender out this tournament. So some teams were 4 men. A lot of teams had 1 woman. And so, I have to say there's a couple games in there where I just hit some shots that I was like, you could do this if you really wanted to. And I hit them and I was like, okay, this is such a boost for me. Those guys gave me an invaluable gift by coming down to play. They really, they really elevated my level. And I had a great time. The team format, MLP format, I hope for everyone to be able to play it sometime. Having a 4-person team, rally scoring, you're all rooting for each other. You're very invested in how your whole team is doing.
Yeah.
It's so fun.
It sounds like it. It really sounds like it. Lots of fun. And again, congratulations to you. How neat.
So when was the tournament that you, when was that tournament that they came down to?
Halloween weekend. So it was just last month. Yep.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
So that was the first one that they did for minor league. It was the pilot, and now they will gender it out. They're going to keep going. They're going to have it at all levels. So it's not just this, 5-0 to pro situation. It's
Yeah.
going to be like next weekend or on the 10th, 11th, they're doing their first 16 and 18 divisions out there. And then it's going to travel, so you'll see it. You'll see it around. I'm not promoting it. I'm not paid.
You should.
I'm going to make a couple of phone calls after this. But it really is a fantastic, energetic, experience, and I think a lot of players should get to experience that. So.
Wow.
That is so neat. Now, do you have any upcoming tournaments coming
Yeah.
your way?
I've got nothing on the books because I have been waiting to see what minor league is going to put out.
Oh, sure.
To me, at this point, like, it's just so worth the travel to do things like that. And it's a lot more than just a double elimination tournament. That first day we played 5 matches. We were on the court for 10 hours, which I hope they just don't do that again. That was too much. But again, it's a pilot, right? They're learning.
Yep.
I think 3 would be great. So in MLP, they play 2, and they play for 4 days, right? But now that there's more teams, we had 12 team divisions for that first one.
Okay.
So if they keep that, I imagine that it might have to be more matches. So maybe they would shorten that, shrink that down a little bit. But yeah, so I would like to think that maybe January, if minor league is in Vegas, I might do that, or it'll go to Arizona, I think, after that, and I'll do one of those. So
Who doesn't want to go there?
Right.
I know, right? You're headed there. Yeah.
Now we will be in Vegas for the bubbly tournament.
Yeah.
In 2
That's
weeks.
great.
So
Love
I'm
it.
hoping that we'll be medal contenders.
You better.
Yeah. Let's go.
We are so excited. It's going to be just
So
great.
you can put some of these things into motion, right?
We will.
Start
Yes.
using your roller. Okay.
Yes.
Static stretch. We can talk about some details for you. And
that'd be great.
yeah. Put
Oh,
some things into motion
okay.
for you.
So the thing that we really had on our number 1 on our list, we really wanted to meet both of your dogs.
Well, we've got one behind us.
Oh my
All
gosh.
right. I can definitely get one out. I know he will be happy. Bruno. This dog is a total ham. He would love to hang out with you.
All of our viewers are always bringing in their dogs and talking about their dogs, and we all are always at the dog park.
Oh, I love it.
Hi. Okay, who is this?
This is Bruno.
Bruno. Yes. How old is Bruno?
Bruno's probably he's probably 9.5 or 10 or so. So all of my dogs were severe neglect or their rescue cases. So this guy was a severe neglect case where his owners got prosecuted. So that's good stuff.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he didn't have any fur. So if you see him, he's got some scars on him. But I mean, he's the love of my life. So he's the dog I always wanted, and yeah, he's super cool.
You are such a great gal. I have to just say we are so lucky to have Annie. Thank you so much for reaching out to her. I have so enjoyed
Well, thank you
you.
for reaching out. That's really sweet of you girls. Thank you. I appreciate it. And I love what I do. I love my job, and I'm very lucky I've found it so many years ago. And at a certain point, this goes off the cuff, but I thought I would retire and get into something else that I love to do, which is designing. And with pickleball, and actually with COVID too, COVID was the most creative I've ever been in my career because we had to be. We couldn't get equipment, couldn't go to the gym. Here I am, like, virtual with everybody. And so you really learn to make it work in those time frames. And then now with pickleball, I'm having so much fun. I love helping people grow this game that I absolutely love. I love watching people have success in their game. Althoff is a new client for me, and
Oh.
You know, just in like 2 weeks, he's like, I played so great. I was moving better. I felt really good. Yeah, I
Wow.
get really excited. It's
Oh
like,
my
you know, your
gosh.
success is my success. So I get to get some
Exactly.
feedback. Yeah,
That is
I get some good
exactly.
stuff. Yeah.
So what was
So,
the design that you were doing? What kind of design work were you going to do?
architecture homes. Yeah. Yeah. I just love it. And I have since I was a kid. So, but, you know, maybe someday it's still there. I don't think homes are going to go away.
Or maybe you could start designing some pickleball courts, restaurants, hotels.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh
For
my God.
sure. Don't we need more of them, right?
Right. And
Yes, you.
Amy and I have always talked about how the universe, when things seem difficult, it's because they're kind of moving you in another place and getting you to another spot where you're supposed to be.
Absolutely.
So bravo
Absolutely.
for all you've
Yes.
done.
That's how we grow, right? Without the adversity, we don't grow. So, you know, in your game, if things get or feel a little stuck, or in your body, if things get a little stuck, I would implore you to try to just move through that. Go ahead and take a break if you need one, but you know, also just listen to what's going on with yourself, and let yourself be in that little bit of a valley. Explore what you need to do to get out of that valley. You're going to come out so much stronger, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
I really love helping people explore new things. So if someone comes to me and they're a little stuck with something, I'm like, well, have you ever thought about trying this, right? So in the world of injury,
Yep.
so I'm big into cryotherapy. I love red light therapy. I
We
find that
do.
very helpful.
Amy loves that
You
too.
had asked me about the BFR, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the occlusion cuffs. Yeah. I'm not trained in them, but I do use a technique that I showed everyone I just did that clinic at Nationals with the pickleball forum for women, right? And
Yes.
so I had a couple of voodoo bands that I brought out. So that voodoo flossing, fantastic. And that's something that you can use right before you play. I have my guys have used it. You know, it's easy, it's painless. Have you heard about this?
No, I want to ask, but I didn't want to interrupt. But I get so excited.
Yeah. Well, I got and by the way, we haven't really done this in a while, but this is a great way of stretching, even if you're not. just
fun.
for fun.
Super fun.
It's not really a stretch, but so these bands. Oh yeah, that's a good point.
Oh,
Gotta keep up
My
with
water
it.
shot in the middle of a work day for me, so water it is. But yeah, these bands are easy to find on Amazon. It's called voodoo flossing, and you can essentially wrap, say, an appendage, right?
Yeah.
And so we have decompression therapy and we have compression therapy. And so the occlusion cuffs, right, blood flow restriction stuff is all a matter of compression. And I do think it's very, very helpful if you've got like people with tennis elbow. I put it on a couple of the women. The only thing is, like, if you're in the thick of it, if you're really experiencing a lot of pain, it's not a one and done thing, but it's going to help get you out of a hole. That's the whole point, right? We're trying to get you out of a hole. So you can use this right before you play, and you just do like a 50% compression. I've got a lot of clothes on here, but you know, you're just basically kind of wrapping the joint itself, and you're not doing like a hardcore wrap or anything like that. And then you would just do a little bit of exercise while you're wrapped.
Is this similar? I have a green band that the PT guy gave me, and I'm just doing a lot of stretching where I'm moving my leg and it's pulling it. Is the voodoo band the same thing?
Not
or
exactly.
different? Okay. That's
so you've got a TheraBand. This is going to be a little thicker, a little denser.
Okay.
And so it's going to provide a little more compression
Okay.
there than say like your average TheraBand. And then it kind of looks like one of those power bands, but it still is a different density. So
Okay.
I wouldn't cut a TheraBand or a power band. I would just, these are $15 to $20 for a set of 2. I mean, I would just buy them if this is something that, you know, this is something people can look up and look into. So the blood flow restriction stuff, because we had talked a little bit about your knee, right? So
And I did do it today, this morning. And when I'm done, my muscle is spent. It feels so good. I just love it. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, that's good. That's good because it's essentially helping you maintain some of your muscle without having to go through a lot of high impact, right? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, your volume can be a lot lower. So, yeah.
I just loved it. And I also love, I don't know why I've not done this ever before, but the Game Ready, you know, where you, have you used, you know, the Game Ready? It's an ice machine and they put it, it's probably considered.
It has its own brand. It is. It's a physical therapist office. Yes. Yeah, that's fancy. That's fancy stuff you got there.
And, you know, one of the things I love for compression are those sleeves on your legs, like the Normatec, or the King, I think this is the brand Kingsport or something of that nature. I really love those. What do you think about those, Leslie?
Yeah, I actually was the recipient of a pair of those for Christmas from a certain person who love very much, has been on your podcast. And so I use them all the time. They are fantastic. The crazy thing about those, we're talking about the compression boots, right? So it's like over your feet and go all the way up to your hips. And they have a lot of knockoffs for these. So Normatec, the brand, is really expensive. Their bodies are expensive. Luckily, this is a good time of year to find some discounts on that stuff. But Amazon, I mean, some of these knockoffs, people tell me that they're really, really good. But so it's amazing how wonderfully they affect my sleep. Really? Because I track my sleep. So it's quite interesting how much more deep and REM I get after using the boots.
And do you use them? Do you use them right before you go to bed, or when do you use them?
So, good question. I have not seen that it matters. I feel like it could be any time throughout the day. I actually had a client going through cancer therapy, and I was taking the boots to her house and letting her use them. And it was the one time that she was sleeping through the night.
Oh my God!
Now that's interesting.
Okay, that is.
I've always loved those.
You have always loved those, yes.
But I didn't know about all of those benefits. I hadn't put it all together. And in our last podcast, we spoke about Lifetime in Minnesota here in Edina.
Yeah.
They have Normatec sessions, and they have hydro sessions, and they last 20 minutes, and I love them. I mean, I just think they're great. Yes.
So when I use them as a one-off every once in a while, so I would go to maybe like my cryotherapy place and use the boots sometimes, I never really noticed the sleep because I wasn't cued into that. It wasn't until I owned them and used them a little more often that I was like, wow, I really sleep well with this. And I don't think you have to use it all the time to see the benefit, but that's just when I noticed it. So all these things I'm talking about, you know, the Google does have the information on this stuff, right? The Google, so you can look that up. I have the TheraBody one.
The TheraBody.
That's what I have. So
nice.
One last quick question that I wanted to circle back to. Yes, because we know we need to get going. You have a celebration. The red light therapy, that's infrared. I have always loved it. I had owned a spa years back and did a lot of research on the red light therapy for so many different things. Is there a particular brand or a particular philosophy you have for infrared? I would love to hear it.
I do not. I don't know enough and to speak on that. I bought a light myself randomly. So I had been using the panels, the Fancy Pants panels at my cryo place and would notice a big difference after using them. So I decided to buy my own. I spent about $40 on my lamp, and it's probably like 6 or 7 inches in diameter. I, basically read reviews and just went that route. So the thing about it is they talk about the anti-aging effects for the face, right?
Mhm.
But then I would use it when I would have any issues. I would, put it on a hip or my low back or anything like that. So I do think through the research that I've done on that, it does require very consistent use. That is the one thing. The detail to that is like if you're using this twice a week, it's not enough. If you want to see big changes, right, you've got to use it, I think, almost every day. I think
Is that something that you do every day? Is that part of your routine or not?
I do not use it every day. Probably in the winter, I will actually pick that back up, because that's when I was really pretty consistent, is when it was cold. And when it gets hot, it's not a really hot lamp or anything. I just wasn't laying under a lamp. I do cryo almost every day when it's hot out. I'm going to, hey, look, I just tell you what I know. It doesn't mean that I'm perfect at it, but I do roll and stretch almost every single day. That is something that, I've been rolling for about 20 years.
Wow.
Wow.
I'm adding that. I'm adding it to my daily routine.
My son has always rolled.
He has?
My son has rolled ever since
What is his sport?
Well, he in high school is hockey and lacrosse.
Mm-hmm.
And of course now, actually, we just had a really fun event at Minneapolis Cider. It was our Eat, Drink, and Be Merry event. And our children played.
Our kids came.
Yes.
It was really fun.
That's great.
Yeah, it was really fun. It was really fun.
It was a lot of fun.
Okay, so we want to make sure our listeners are able to get a hold of you. And so we want to, again, let them know that your Instagram handle is
bulletproof_your_body.
Awesome. And we will
just like you put a space.
We will put that on our podcast page info. And we so love chatting. So great.
Yes. We could spend hours with you.
We really could. Maybe we can come and visit.
Yes, come watch.
I like it. Come on down.
Play.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I want to watch you play. I want to see you ladies play. I'm so excited for your upcoming tourney.
Let us know when you're in Minnesota.
Okay, I will. Absolutely.
Awesome.
It won't be while it's cold, I can tell you that.
It couldn't be.
Well, I have a better idea. How about we go to Austin?
Stay with Leslie.
There we go. That's it. Yep. Everybody gets a dog.
Enjoy your celebration that you're going to this afternoon.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yes.
We will be in contact because we're going to be reaching out ASAP.
Absolutely. And thanks for making time for us and for our listeners. You have made a difference in many people's lives today. I am sure of it. If not, only 2.
Or probably every single girl that we play with on Wednesday at Mega Pickle and Pong on our ladder league. Because now we will have all the info and they will watch it. We'll all be stretching together.
Absolutely.
I will, gratis, I will send you girls all a good detailed warm-up plan. How about that?
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Leslie, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
And cheers
Thank
to our
you
wonderful
so much
listeners.
for having me. Hey, everybody, get out there and stretch.
All right.
Thank you, Leslie.
Thank you, Leslie.
You.
Hey, wasn't Leslie a great guest?
Oh my God. She's just an all-around amazing person. Inside, outside.
I love it.
Me too.
I love it. I think one of the things that impressed me most
Yeah.
is her sincerity in truly wanting to impact the lives of those
others.
Yes. And you said it best, Rebecca.
What was it?
You and I have that in common as well.
Yes.
Our other businesses, that's really what we strive to do.
Yeah.
Empower, edify, encourage, and really help people to open up whatever might be preventing them from living a fabulous life.
Yes. Well said.
Oh,
well
gosh.
good.
Well, thank you. I feel like we should say the word of the day. Stretch. Okay, let's do it.
Cheers to another great podcast.
Oh, thanks so much, Rebecca. This was so
Thank
much
you,
fun.
Maddie. See you in 2 weeks.
Oh, hey, wait a minute. Before we
Oh my
sign
God.
off.
Oh my
Before
God.
we sign off, we're going to Vegas. So, hey, be sure to watch us. We will be having Facebook Lives
Yes.
running. And boy, I don't know who we're going to meet or who we're going to chat with. And we get to play. We get to wear our beautiful Pickleball Chicks clothing.
Yes, it's going to be really great. You're going to want to see that. Yes,
Mm.
yes.
Good things. We wish you all good things.
All the things Leslie said. We're
Yes.
going to really have, I'm going to change up my daily routine with stretching and what she called it.
Well, you know,
Rolling.
I think this might be a good thing to say. I was stretching every day,
Mhm.
every night, and then I had kind of fallen ill where I wasn't feeling very well, and I didn't. And then I hurt myself playing pickleball.
Yes.
And so the stretching, and hey, don't forget, we're going to have a session with Leslie right away. Like pronto.
Yes,
And we encourage
yes.
everyone else to do the same. I
Reach
don't know.
out to her.
Yes. How many people, really, if you think about it, are wondering what could you do to prevent
Yes.
and how to take better care of yourselves?
Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers.
Until next time.
Till next time. Thanks, everybody.
And if you haven't had enough of us yet, here's some bloopers.
Proof. Lower.
Underscore.
Underscore.
Your
Your.
Five.
underscore.
You have to
Oh,
say it
yeah.
again. 'Cause I knew there were some underscores. I couldn't remember where the underscores were.
Shiny new thing. Shiny new thing. Bring me the next. Shiny
Hey there, thanks so much for joining the Pickleball Chicks today. Be sure to check out our show notes. You'll see links to subscribe in any of the platforms our podcast is running in, such as YouTube, iHeart, Amazon, you name it. And don't forget to look for the link for Leslie's warm-up video. Thanks again for joining us. Have a wonderful day.
shiny new thing.
You can find Leslie at bulletproof_your_body on Instagram or email Leslie at trainerleslie@gmail.com.